All right. So we're 2 for 3, guys. We got
Okay.
Dave Menz, Laundromat Millionaire, and Brian Grell on here. So we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna hope that Jordan joins us at some point. Okay, so back to Daryl Johnson and the bathroom situation. We'll start over.
Okay, so Daryl Johnson question was talking about the best bathroom retool. I want to back up to tell you that when I walk into a laundromat, when I'm on the road, the first place I always go is to the bathroom. And everyone says, well, why do you always go to the bathroom? Well, for one of them, Dave, is when you're over 60, you have to know where every bathroom is when you're on the road. I always find But the real reason in our industry is that everything I need to know about how a laundry owner operates their business, I learned from the way they take care of their own bathrooms. And it is, I just find it absolutely disgusting that you will go into a bathroom and then, who does laundry? Moms, grandmas with children. And, most people, guys, sorry, guys, we own laundromats. We'll go to the bathroom anywhere. We don't care. But you know what? Your customers are women and grandmas and moms, and you have to take care of them. And believe me, they're not going to walk back into your place if you don't keep yourself a bathroom. So I'll never forget, Daryl's been on the board, and I'm Daryl's the chairman of the board, and I was the past chairman. But I'll never forget when Daryl was remodeling his bathroom, and he sent me pictures of his bathroom, and I nearly fell off my chair. I called Daryl and Lisa and said, are you kidding me? If you don't rehab your bathroom, I'm going to petition that we remove you from the board of the directors of LA. Well, he promptly went ahead and completely redid his bathroom. Now, he's done a bunch more since. And if you look on Facebook, he had posted a couple of bathroom renovations. He's finally getting the whole model of bathrooms. So, that's a funny story. And then a real funny story happened with our really, really good friends, the Williford family. And Luke, you just texted me. I saw you, so I know you're listening.
Yep, Luke's in the comments section.
Yeah, so Luke, so we took a video of this because this was really funny. So Luke held a laundry cares event after a hurricane. We did free laundry and literacy event there. And I went there and said, so Grell, what do you think? What do you think of my laundromat? And I went around and I was checking things off and I was giving him a rating. And then I went into the bathroom and it went straight downhill from there. And I don't want to get too much into it, but everyone should ask for the video of the bathroom critique. Because I think for the next 2 or 3 months, Luke was ripping out toilet bowls and bathrooms, and he was changing the design of his bathrooms because of that one experience. But yeah, bathrooms are kind of important. So
yeah. Wow, that's a funny story. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that Daryl brought his A game when Brian called him out. So that's good to hear.
And by the way, Dave, I just want to say, I've been talking about fixing your bathrooms all along. And then, of course, Stephen Bean went ahead and wrote it in Planet Laundry magazine, how to So I know you talked about how important they are. So really, start with a bathroom and build around it.
Yeah, I couldn't possibly agree more. All right. Well, we had a little bit of a late start getting in here. So guys, start posting your comments in the or questions in the comments section. Looks like Jordan has joined us in the chat, but he's having technical difficulties getting in the video. Jordan is a super savvy technical guy, so I'm confident he'll figure it out and he'll pop up on the screen at any minute. But until then, me and Brian are going to run with it. And Jordan, you're just going to have to hang out down there with Stacy. Okay. So we hope you join us so you can answer some questions. So Brian, we're going to jump right into it. They are going to start putting questions in the comments section, and I will try to shoot them to you. Guys, if you have specific questions for the Zombiemat Slayer himself, then just post that with your question. Put, hey, Brian, blah, 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 in your question, and I'll know you want to direct that to him. Hopefully Jordan can jump on here, but if he can't, then maybe we'll have time for me and Brian both to answer some of these questions. But me and Jordan, when in our promo video, we said we had a few questions for you. So I'm going to start with those while other people are posting some stuff down into there. Okay. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
All right. Question number 1, guys. Where did the term zombie mat come from? So tell us the story, because we believe that there has to be a story behind this.
Oh, there is a story. And it starts back at a clean show. And I was in my booth at a clean show, and a gentleman, Doug Rice from Teeter's Equipment, came up to me. We had a nice long chat. We were talking, and we were both feeling energy from each other. And then next thing I know I get a phone call from him one summer, and he goes, Brian, he goes, I really want you to come to Teeter's, our open sales event. He said, we always have a couple of hundred people every year. And of course, I already knew that they always had a good sales event. So he said, why don't you fly in July? So I picked up Jennifer Whitney, one of my colleagues, and we decided to take a trip to Ohio, and we met with him. We sat there, and while I was going there, and about a week before, I started binge watching Walking Dead. I mean, I was really going crazy, on my train rides into work. I was on the plane ride, wherever I was traveling, I was binge watching it. And so we get to his office, Jennifer and I and Doug and his son, Dan, were sitting around a table, and he's saying, well, what do you want? I asked him, well, what do you want to talk about? Because, I've never done this stuff before. Mm-hmm. He goes, well, I think he asked me was, well, what bothers you? What do you like to see about the industry? I said, well, what drives me crazy? Disgusting, dirty, dilapidated laundromats. I can't stand them. It's if you don't know, Dave, I've probably been in over 1,000 laundromats in 30 years. More. That was one of
the questions in the comments section. Somebody just asked that.
Thousands.
Luke asked. So there you go, Luke. Thousands.
I was in a laundromat yesterday in Charlotte. Okay, but I literally go into wherever I've been traveling. I've been in so many laundromats that when I was raising my 3 children when they were younger, and we'd go on vacation driving down to Disney World, they would always say, "Do we really have to stop at another laundromat, Dad? Please." I said, no, it pays the bills. I'm going in a laundromat. So, so the term Zombiemat came about as, we all talk about a number of laundromats out there, 25, 30,000. Nobody knows. But I will tell you, just on a non-scientific statistic, I want to say that 80-20 rule, that 80% of the laundromats I was going into is not where I would want to do laundry. Right. I mean, the goal of a laundromat is to go get clean clothes, and you would walk in the door and it was everything but clean. So I started thinking about what I wanted to do. I started taking pictures. I was asking people on the road to send me pictures of dirty laundromats. And then I want to figure, okay, well, how do we turn these around? And that's basically how I coined the phrase. It was just freaky. I started doing a presentation. The first one was at Teeter's 5 years ago. And a little kudos to Mr. Diaz, because Dennis was at Eastern Funding at the time when we put the presentation together. So my very first presentation, I was coached by Mr. Diaz. So thank you very much for that. But it's gone through many iterations, and I travel all over the place. And the whole goal here is just really to improve laundromats, and because nobody wants to see eyesores.
Right. I couldn't agree more. Wow. Well, Jordan and I talked about in the promo video, there had to be a story, and now we have that story. So thanks for sharing that with us. All right. Question number 2. If I find a zombie mat in my area, what are my priorities? What do I do first? If I'm not in the industry, don't own a laundromat, and I look in my neighborhood 10 miles or 5 miles from my house, there's a zombie mat, and I'm interested.
Okay. The first thing, honestly, that I would do, and everybody who ever calls me on the phone, is a lot of people in the audience that I know are here. The first person, when someone's brand new in this industry, I'm going to ask them, have you done any research on the industry? Have you looked into the Coin Laundry Association? What kind of homework have you done? Because it doesn't matter if you have a zombie net down the block. If you go in green, you're not going to know what questions to ask and what to look for. That's one thing. So I direct them to knowledge, literature, associations, Facebook pages, forum pages, the CLA forum. I connect them right away to that. Second thing I do, I start asking questions. You always have to start with the question. You want to get into the laundromat business, how much equity capital you have to work with? Because believe it or not, all of us who've been in this industry a long time, a lot of people think they can get into the laundry business with a couple of $100. And and I like to tell the truth. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I set the standard of what they should expect. And then when it comes to the specific laundromat that they're talking about, I don't want to be the only expert. I like to plug in a local distributor or a broker that works in the neighborhood that's well respected and regarded. And you work with a team of professionals like yourself, Dave, and Jordan, that could help with the consulting aspect. But it always starts with getting some general information about the location. And when it comes the first question is, when you walk into Laundromat, is you go in with a piece of paper and ask yourself some questions. Why is it a zombie mat? What's wrong with it? Make a list. And then more importantly, find out what the competition is doing and make a list. So often, many people, they go into a store or location and they're not thinking about what are the other people doing? What's going on surrounding them? So that's when you come with a zombie, is to start studying. Oh, by the way, here's a very good point there that a lot of people don't do. How about taking a laundry there and sitting there for a weekend and do your laundry in there and ask questions to customers and maybe talk to the attendant, and then go to the competition and talk with their attendants and their customers, and start the conversation off with, hey, I'm new to the area. Why do you come to this laundromat? And I always tell people the best intel you ever will get will not be from the seller of the store. It will not be from the broker of the store.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be no one with a financial interest. It'll be the customers. And you have to do your own homework for that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's a fantastic answer for sure. All right. So I might come back to question number 3 in a little bit,
Okay.
but we're getting bombarded. So I'm going to try to get some of their questions answered. I know you're going to love this one. So James Whitmore says, why would someone want to put a read, play, learn center in a laundry? What are the benefits?
Okay. All right. So we're gonna talk a lot about this. Is talking about the future of our industry, and I wrote in Planet Laundry magazine, one of the Viewpoint articles, why I believe that our industry is on the precipice of breaking out to be better than it's ever been. And frankly,
I agree.
I think it's the best I've seen in 33 years, and there are 3 reasons for that. But the third component is laundry cares. Period.
Okay.
I don't go anywhere without my laundry cares shirt here. So it's upside down and inside out. But I have my laundry cares hat here, and I have my orange shirt, and I always carry it around with me. What Laundry Cares is doing is completely transforming the industry. In that, what do we think about? Think about this for a second. When you ask everyone who's new, especially when you're in the business, what do we think of? What is the image of the laundromat business? And one is zombie mats is a lot of things I get. Well, people laundromats because they're dirty, old, or there's a lot of crime, and they have all these preconceived notions. So what Laundry Cares is doing is introducing read, play, learn centers, literacy into the laundries themselves. And we're working with partnerships, Too Small to Fail, and we're working with librarians around the country and other organizations. And the whole point is to volunteer in your laundry space, if you can find the space, where on weekends you'd be reading to children. And it's so exciting because when we started Laundry Cares, it started a number of years ago, but really became activated in 2015 when we did one of our very famous free laundry days out on Long Island in Bayshore. And we learned a couple of things from that. Laundry Cares was designed with the intent of giving back to the community, because let's face it, a lot of us in the laundry business have had very good, successful careers, and it's time to give back. So we said, free laundry days would be great. Brian Wallace hooked up with Jane Park Wu from the Clinton Foundation, Too Small to Fail. And she decided, you know what, we're going to come to that free laundry day. We're going to set up a tent, and we're going to bring books, we're going to bring volunteers, and we're going to read to the children. We said, okay, why not? Set up a tent. So that laundry day took place, was one of the most incredible, mind-boggling experiences I ever saw. We had over 535 people there. We had 80 volunteers show up wearing orange shirts to help all the customers that day. Food vendors were donating food. We served over 100 pizza pies. We had ice cream free. We had the local DJ came, and we had the local Hispanic radio station doing live broadcasts. It was a circus event. Anybody who attended that very first Laundry Cares day was completely blown away. And I actually came back to the board and I said to the board, the future of our industry is Laundry Cares. But here's what really came out of that. It wasn't just the free food or the free laundry and a carnival atmosphere. What we witnessed that day was how many kids were, when they would get off the jumping castle or stop eating food, were going into the tents and started reading with children. That's when we observed that we were connecting with children while the parents were either doing their laundry or going eating. We noticed the connection. And this is why what Jim brought up something that's very important to me. And the whole laundry cares is going to transform our industry. It already has, based on the summits we have. And I would direct anybody listening in, and I'll be point blank. If anybody's building a new laundromat today, and you're not putting in a 6x9 space or a 5x10 or even a shelf with table and books, if you're not doing that, you're missing the future. Because we don't want this to be just about washing clothes. That's a basic necessity. We want our industry to connect to our communities. And that's why the magazine here, which was issued in March, I want to direct everyone to go back to the March issue. This entire issue is all about laundry cares. Read every word about it and find out what your Coin Laundry Association is doing for our industry. It is so exciting. And I hope others will find out why it's exciting, and you'll see it in all the magazines. But I hope that was a long answer, but there's more to it.
No, it's fantastic, and I agree completely. So you mentioned that being the March issue. Is that March of 2020?
March 2020, Laundry Communities.
Okay, great. Well, to follow up on that, and we're not going to talk about laundry cares all day, but this is good stuff. Stacy Runfola asks, Brian, how do you apply to have a laundry cares event at your location?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you, Stacy. By the way, kudos every time Stacy comes in on one of these events. Stacy's is one of those newbies who came to an Excellence in Laundry conference. Well, actually, I think I remember, Stacy. You called me and she goes, well, I want to get in a laundry business. What do I do next? And I think I said, you got to get on a plane and go to Ojai, California. And you know what she did?
She did.
Ojai, California, and she was a sponge. I want Stacy should get a trophy on how to learn this business in quickly, because I think she has 3 stores, maybe 4. I don't remember right now.
3, yeah.
Well, I will tell you, if anyone's new to this business and they don't plug into the system that we have already there, so you don't have to recreate the wheel, you're absolutely nuts. But how do you apply? So Daryl Johnson and Lisa Johnson, we have a selection committee, a part of the Laundry Cares board. And what you do is you would submit your store and your information, and there's an application, and we find out about the store. So there is a whole process, but you reach out to Daryl and Lisa, and they'll certainly tell you all about it. So we don't take a lot of time here. But if to have a certain level store, we call them a platinum event, where we have those free laundry days. You have to have a large store, and you have to have parking, and so there's some criteria you need to meet in order to have one of those. But believe it or not, I have a little personal goal. And Jim Whitmore, thanks for bringing it up again. But here's a goal. Wouldn't it be nice that every 1 day per year, every laundromat in the country is doing free wash? Oh, and by the way,
wouldn't that be cool?
Handing out books.
Yeah.
Okay. Reading. What those that are involved in laundry cares have learned about the deficiency in literacy in our country is mind-boggling. And I really encourage everyone to find out. If you're doing a laundromat today and you want to do it right, figure out how to get literacy as part of your model.
Yeah, I agree. That's fantastic. All right. Well, we're going to jump into some of the more practical side of the business.
Okay.
So Roberto Arce, and I apologize if I'm butchering that, Roberto. He says, hey, Brian, what is the time frame it takes to open a laundromat business from start to finish? So I assume he means a new build.
Okay. So that's a really good question. Just for everybody out there, Robert, one of the guys, just called me a few days ago inquiring about getting into the laundromat business. And Robert, what did I tell you? Plug in. First of all, come to this seminar. A couple of days ago, Brian Wallace had his Laundry 101 seminar, which is an hour. You know, guys, I'm 33 years in the business. And guess what I did for 1 hour? I sat and listened to Brian Wallace again, because every time I surround myself with people who know something, I learn something. So to answer Robert's question, how long does it take? First of all, it's going to, the factors that are involved is what city you're in and what kind of building department requirements you have. Because I've seen everything from taking 3 to 6 months. What used to take 3 to 6 months could be 6 months to a year, sometimes longer. But you know what I'll tell you, Dave? If you're going to start a laundromat from scratch, you better surround yourself with a qualified, competent vendor, qualified architect, okay? And to run the gamut, a qualified attorney, because you don't want to start a project and find out that you have insufficient gas, which we had. We had that problem up in Dorchester. Massachusetts, we now have a 1.5 year delay because we didn't know about a certain requirement because they didn't ask and they didn't have the right person asking. So, so anyway, it could anywhere 6 to 9 months to a year. Again, Dave, there's so many nuances to that, but it all depends on, do you have utilities there? Water, gas, and electric. Do you have sufficient utilities? If you have a vanilla box and it's all there, you can really expedite through that process. And some cities have water moratoriums. Some cities have filtration requirements. So everybody's different. Again, your local vendor is the one that's going to help you get through that.
When you say vendor, do you mean a distributor?
Yeah,
what do you mean by vendor?
An equipment distributor, or
Yeah.
by the way,
Okay.
well, equipment distributor knows how to build stores. That's what they do.
Mhm.
But most of you probably don't know that I was an equipment distributor for 10 years before I started in the finance business. So I'm kind of familiar. At the time I was a distributor, we were building 80 to 100 stores per year. So we saw a lot. I saw a lot. So
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna concur with Brian when it comes to diving into the industry. Stacy is one of my consulting clients. Actually, she's a Happy Nest operator, and I consult. I have a national contract with Happy Nest. I consult and mentor to all of our operators, and I work with her very closely, and she is phenomenal. And her passion for the industry is up there with mine and yours. And there's a lot of us. I'm not saying we're the only ones, but absolutely. At the end of the day, I tell clients and friends all the time, whether they're in the industry or entering the industry, look, it starts and ends with passion, because that can take you a long ways. You can be the smartest person in the world, and you can be the not smartest person in the world. At the end of the day, you can make up for that if you want to. If you want the information, it's out there, and it's getting better, and easier to find every single day. And I've seen that just from the 11 or 12 years I've been in the industry. So yeah, I mean, obviously, that's a big part of what's made me who I am. It's made me successful. It's obviously made Stacy successful to the level she is right now. And I'm sure you've seen that many, many times over with many, many different owners. Would you say that's probably the most key attribute to success? Like, do you think that when you see that energy in someone like me or you, even, or Stacy, if someone enters the industry, do you see that as like, okay, they're going to do something?
Oh, but there's nothing more frustrating than laziness and apathy. And I mean, I have a lot of, I look for that energy. I look for that, their interest. I want to know how passionate they are about their business. But I wanted to jump back because I'm looking at Planet Laundry magazine again. Okay. And this is for Robert and for every store owner out there. And this happens to be the December 20th, 2020 issue. Okay. Our good buddy, Carrie Littman, I know he's in listening today.
He is.
Right here. Okay.
Yep.
So Roberto, you need to go out there in the December issue digitally and read The Road to Laundromat Ownership. Should I buy a new store or buy an old store, new one? So that's kind of important. Again, the information is right there.
Yeah, Carrie is absolutely an industry gem for sure. I can't tell you how much I've learned from him over the years, mostly on the CLA forum. But we've recently started connecting offline, and he's an absolute rock star in this industry. And he's certainly a very passionate guy, for sure. And yeah, when I see articles like that, I definitely flip right to them for sure. But I'll also say one of my kind of secret sauces for the industry is I actually did this on accident, but I almost take pride in it. I've been in the business for almost 12 years. I've never received the Planet Laundry magazine in the mail and not read it that evening, cover to cover. It's never happened. Now it's almost like I have a chip on my shoulder. I have to do it because my wife started picking on me. But I did it for, I don't know, probably 9 years without even realizing it. My passion was just that high. I couldn't wait to get the magazine. I couldn't wait to get the information that was in it. And it's always packed. So yeah.
Yeah. So Dave, so a number of years ago, I implemented at Eastern Funding for all our credit analysts to read the magazine.
Nice.
And the reason why I did that is not, let's face it, this is pretty much some boring stuff in there if you're not interested, right? But why did I want our staff to read the magazine? Because I want them, when they're speaking to people in our industry, that they understand the difference between 100G machines and 200G machines. They know what a good laundromat, they know all about science, they know about social media marketing. I want them. So once a month, we would sit around, they would have their credit meeting. And once a month, David Miles in my office would put a little questionnaire together just to see if everybody was reading. Now, it's all for joke and in jest. But usually, it's just, you know what? If you're going to pick any industry, if you're going to be a baseball player, well, you better be following the best coaches and learning from the best coaches or the right training. So again, it's critical. Plug in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to welcome superstar from Los Angeles, California, batting cleanup for our Laundromat Owners Forum today, folks. Jordan Berry. He broke up a fight. He's a bouncer. He's been using his ninja skills today. He cleaned up water. He got a towel and a mop. He got it all cleaned up. And Brian, you need any Tide? I got some Doritos in the background there. What do you need? Anything back there? He's got a sale going on. All right, we're going to jump right in, and Jordan, we're going to let you answer some of these questions too. So I'm going to actually, I'm going to shoot this question to Jordan, but we definitely got to let Grell answer this one as well. So Dennis Diaz says, what are some quick and easy fixes for a Zombiemat that are not capital intensive? We just lost Brian Grell. Oh my goodness. Well, it's a good thing I'm pointing this to you. Hopefully he'll jump back in. What are quick and easy fixes for a Zombiemat, Jordan, that are not capital intensive and anyone can do?
Yeah, well, I saw a good comment. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
You're good? Okay. Yeah, I saw a good comment about carts and adding carts, which are, pretty cheap. And having enough carts for everybody is crucial because, people hold on to those carts. So, if they come and there's not a cart available, they might stick around that time. But they may not come back the next time if they don't feel like they can get a cart. So that's a big one. And then there's some like more obvious ones where, throwing paint on the walls, keeping things as clean as possible, keeping your machines running, which is super crucial. Another one for the coin stores, which most Zombie-Mats are coin stores, is keeping the change machines full, which is easier said than done sometimes in some of those unattended mats. Because I know people come in and take those quarters a lot of times. But staying on top of that thing. And then the other thing that I think that you can do that would really, really help is be relentlessly on top of people hanging out who shouldn't be hanging out. So whether that's, homeless people or, vandalism, that kind of thing. One of the things that I do is I'm very respectful, but I'm very firm now. And I don't give chances. I don't give opportunities anymore. And I have people go. And the other thing that I do is I call the police for everything, big, small, doesn't matter. And it's not to get people into trouble, but it's more to get the police in the habit of coming by on their own. And because when they do that, people who are causing trouble feel uncomfortable. Yep. And the whole thing for a Zombiemat is you want to make it very comfortable for your customers and uncomfortable for the people who are not your customers. And so, keeping things clean, keeping things neat, keeping things aesthetically beautiful, but also making it uncomfortable for people who shouldn't be hanging out there to hang out there is key. So being on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to jump in real quick and tell you it's going to be clean, 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 paint, 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 and safety, safety, safety. And you touched on all those. Those are the three things that I would tell you would be kind of the low-lying fruit. So Brian Grell, I know we lost you on your back. Hopefully you heard the question. Quick practical tips for taking over a Zombiemat. What would you do?
I have something that doesn't cost anything.
Nothing. Free.
And probably
like
the most important thing, but it has to do with customer service, and it has to do with your attendance, and we talked about what Zombie-Mats are. They're eyesores. So we get that already. But then there's also the mentality of a Zombie-Mat owner. A Zombie-Mat owner, to give you an example, every time we would make a loan, we like to do site visits and go into the stores. So I would several times, I would go into the store and I would ask for the owner, and I would tap on the shoulder and say, you know where the owner is? And he goes, oh no, the owner's not here right now. Meanwhile, I have his driver's license in my hand. I know it's him. So that told me right then and there that, okay, he's not a proactive owner. He's just there to collect quarters and go home. And that's it. So Zombie-Mat owners are a state of mind. What does it cost to say hello to a customer when they walk in the front door? It costs nothing. Okay. And as Dennis knows, because I've done this on every single seminar, everybody remembered this from my seminars, is that everybody, the guy, everyone that I'm looking at right now, and everybody who's looking at me right now, every one of us has something indelibly written on our forehead right now. Every human being has it. And if you remember this and forget everything else in the seminar, you'll go places. And it says very simple, make me feel important. Okay.
Sure.
So if a customer walks in your day, and you have to realize we're catering most often to low income, maybe they're out of work, maybe they're struggling at home, they can't pay their bills. There's a whole variety of reasons going on in customers' life. But if they come to the laundromat and you make them feel good for the day, you'll have customers for life. And it's such a simple thing. How much does it cost to make someone feel good? So little simple things like that doesn't cost money. Again, I'm always referring to Planet Laundry and the whole thing called at your service. How to delight your customers. It doesn't mean give them money and free wash. It's just simply make an experience better than anyone else. It's that simple. It applies to every business, not just laundromats.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I call it kissing the babies. Just walking in and talking to people. I have never understood, and it's just my mind. So if you do this, have at it. But I've never understood how laundromat owners walk into a laundromat and don't say, "I'm the owner." I'm not saying to go around and like throw your hands in the air.
Dave, I know the answer to that.
Why is that?
Because any good retail operator in any single business, they want to know why if they ever lost a customer. You want to know why you lost a customer. Zombiemat owners, they don't have a suggestion box for a reason because there's nothing good ever in it and they don't fix it.
Yeah. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it.
I'd say two things to everyone. Do not get into this business if you're not going to be passionate about the business or if you really want to be the best operator in your footprint. And number two, please don't get into the business, okay, if you're going to be the lowest vend price in the marketplace. Because you're going to be in and you'll be the one and done. And I tell anybody every time I get an inquiry or somebody wants to get into this business, I don't think I've ever met anybody who only wanted one store. Everybody wants, well, I've been on my job for 20 years. I want to get one store, and then I want to have 3 and 5, and then I want to retire in 5, 10 years because that's what I want to do. Well, you know what? You got to get that first one off the ground before you get to the second, third, where the average store owner has 2 or 3 stores. So you can get there. You just got to follow the rules.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Joe Dan Reed says he gives out loyalty cards that are preloaded with $10 daily. He's been in the business a long time and has a bunch of stores. He's also one of my clients, and he says he can't make a first impression twice, and I agree with that. And this, I suspect his comment there applies to taking over a new store or building a store. But I would guess if he were on here live with us, I would guess he would tell me that he does that in stores he's had for years. It's never too late to make great impressions on people. You don't have to just do these tips and tricks when you take over a store, when you build a store new and it's a grand opening. That's the easy time to do that stuff. The time to do it when other people don't do it and they forget it is 5-10 years down the road when they take their business slowly but surely start to take their business and their customers for granted. What do you think, Jordan?
I think it's head on, and it's like success in anything else, right? You keep doing the right things for a long period of time, not just all up front, right? Because anybody can do the stuff right up front, but it's that consistency of taking care of your customers that leads to success. I mean, in anything, right? And a laundry business is no exception. So I think that Joe Dan is spot on. Former podcast guest, by the way.
He is, absolutely. What episode? Do you remember? No, you don't. 30-something, 30-something, 40-something.
30-something.
All right, we got another one here for you guys. I'm going to give you a superstar question here. You ready for this? Brian Grell, I'm going to let you answer this first. How important is store signage to the success of a store?
Oh, okay. Another pet peeve of mine.
You got a lot of those.
I have. I've just seen so much junk, my head spins. You have no idea. So anybody who opens a laundromat today, I mean, it all started in my journeys. And think about when I went to Houston, Texas. Every laundromat in Houston, Texas is washateria or lavanderia or laundromat or laundry mat. Okay. if you can't identify yourself differently from your competitors, how can you expect your customers to come to you? Because then they can only assume what's in the inside is the same as everybody else what's in the inside. Signage is everything. Branding is everything. We all do it right now. We'll drive by a restaurant and you look at if it looks good. Packaging in grocery stores, you buy cereal based on the packaging. Why wouldn't you do it for a laundromat? So please, if you have a laundromat, okay, think about adding another creative name to it, and then of course back it up with great service, great machinery, yada yada, and the rest. But you have to have something to identify yourself. Signage is critical. I don't think there are any brand new laundromats that are coming online today that a distributor is working close with would not have some kind of name to that laundromat. And if you want to grow it, you want to have a brand recognition. You want to have in your footprint, one store, 2 or 3 miles apart. You have to have signage.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan, anything to add?
No, I mean, I think that's true. And I think, especially when you're taking over a new store, I think, you know, or if you're retooling or redoing your store, you know, you want your outside to reflect the changes that are happening inside. Because I tell coaching clients this all the time, right? Like, you can remodel a store and put all new machines in, but if nobody on the outside knows there's anything different going on, then it's not going to do you a ton of good, or it's going to take a lot longer for word of mouth to trickle through the neighborhood, right? So that outdoor signage that reflects the indoor signage is crucial.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't drive people into your store, if you can't tell them from outside your store that you've done something different inside, they're never going to go inside, and it's not going to matter. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you have a great signage if you go inside and they have a Zombiemat either. So, I mean, it's a you know, it's not an either or proposition. But yeah, that's signage is a big deal, and I agree with what Brian was saying a second ago when he was talking about just it's one thing, you know, there's a lot of laundromats that have no signage, and there's a lot of laundromats that have bad signage. And there's very few that have good signage. And so I'm glad he brought up, you know what, guys, putting the word laundromat on your building or on your door, that just tells you guys what you are. It tells your customers what you are, not who you are. Branding tells people who you are. So that's big time stuff. That's big time stuff right there. So Kevin Stillwell says, how do you guys find a great distributor in your area? He says he lives in Syracuse, New York, but in general. Go ahead, Brian. What do you think?
Okay, that's a touchy one here. I would I would interview all the distributors selling the different brands. Brand is less important to me personally than it is your relationship that you have with your vendor.
Completely agree.
When you get into the business, your partnerships with the people that are going to build your laundromat, they're going to grow with you. So if you start with the first store, get to know your distributors. Where do you meet them? You meet them at their open houses. Go to their open houses and ask questions and then just feel comfortable with them. And I surrounded myself with an organization that at the time from 87 to 97 was the largest distribution company building laundromats in the country at the time. And I could just see how they were building relationships with customers. And that's the whole thing. And being there. And to me personally, is your distributor going to answer the phone on Saturday at 4 o'clock when some of your machines break down or you have a major event, or are you going to wait till Monday? You know, I know a lot of the guys that are on this call and the distributors around these countries, the really, really good ones, they have cell phones. And if they don't answer right away, they will get back to you. And that's a good test. If someone doesn't answer when you really need them, that's a good distributor. But I do want to say something in support, having been a distributor, having been a store owner, okay, and seeing a lot of this. If you're new and you're shopping for equipment, okay, do me a favor, okay? Do not make price the only thing, because at the end of the day, you're going to put distributors against each other, and they all want to earn your business, and they all want to sell you equipment. But if you gouge somebody so much so that there's nothing left in the tank for them, when you need them on a Saturday and Sunday, guess what's going to happen? Okay, there's no incentive. Okay, everybody needs to prosper, and there's enough room for everyone to prosper across the board. So just be careful. Now, on the other hand, if you're a 30-year veteran and you fix your own machines and you build your own stores and you don't need anybody, then go ahead, commoditize the product and go get the best price you can because you don't need anybody. But for you newcomers out there, okay, build that relationship and build the trust. And for you distributors out there, take care of your customers just like the rest of us are.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I like that you said that at the very end too, because it goes both ways, right?
Yep.
And, the distributor relationship can be a great one and can really help set you on the path. Like Dave, I think you had that experience, right? You got connected with a great distributor, got you set on the path, and now you're the Laundromat millionaire, right? Me, on the other hand, I got connected with a poor distributor and it's been a rough go, or especially early on for me. And so it goes both ways. But yeah, I agree. And I think that the best way to find good distributor to work with is go meet the distributors and figure out, one, who knows what they're talking about the most, and two, who you connect with, because your working relationship with them is just as important as how much they know about the industry.
Yeah, I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to say, be the customer that you want them to be. Because I mean, I absolutely, everybody knows I talk about my distributor HM company in Cincinnati, Ohio all the time, and how fantastic they've been for me in in my journey. And they absolutely have set me up for success. But the flip side of that is I've been a great customer. I've been very loyal to them. I haven't once ever asked them to discount a price. Never. I bought over $2 million in equipment from them over the last 10 to 11, 12 years. I've never once asked them to discount anything. Tell me the price. Seems like a fair price to me. Now, I'm not stupid. If they were gouging me, of course, we wouldn't have that kind of relationship. But even early on, I wanted to be the customer that they wanted. Because one of the things that I've learned is, while we know there's good, bad, and middle grade distributors out there, we all know that. One of the things I've learned is the best distributors in the industry, they have more business than they have time. They get to cherry pick. They get to choose who they work with and who they don't, because they don't have a lack of business. They have a lack of resources even when they're big. And so how do they make that decision? Well, I mean, who do you want to do business with? Well, do you want to do business with somebody that's constantly cutting your margins? And as Brian mentioned, not leaving you any meat on the bone. And quite frankly, don't even care if you're successful or even if you're open a year or two from now. That's not the kind of person that I want to work with. I mean, I don't want a customer like that, a retail customer walking to my laundromats that says, I don't care if you're open next year or not. I want somebody that, this is a give and take relationship. So for the distributors out there, I'm going to say this loud and clear. Be the distributor that you expect your customers to be. And then the flip side is true for us laundromat owners. We got to be the customer that you expect that distributor to be, because it can't be a one-sided relationship. Everything in business that's beneficial is a win-win situation. If somebody has to lose, this is a bad proposition, folks.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty passionate about that. Brian, you got something to say?
Yeah, I do. So 23 years ago, when Michael Fangler and I started the company, I had a lofty goal, and it was real simple. I wanted to make loans to the most successful laundry operators in every state across the board. That's what I wanted to go after the winners in our industry. And I'll tell you this, and by the way, we're in the lending business. So guess what? What do you think the first question when they call us is, what's your rate? I'm not answering that question on the first question, because I want to know about the customer. I want to know what their needs are. I want to know what you want to do with your goals, and I want to know if there's an alignment to be made, one, in the industry, and two, if we can partner together so we can be mutually successful. So there's nothing better than working with successful people, I have to tell you. And again, by the way, there's the 80-20 rule. And 20% of the people will drive you nuts and crazy. And then the 80%, they keep you getting up every single morning going to work, because I have met some phenomenal people in this industry.
Yeah.
And it keeps me going every day. They say, how do you kill a zombie? Well, this pandemic taking us away from all these open houses and the Excellence in Laundry Conference, and not being together, even board meetings, all these Zoom meetings, successful people feed off of each other. So when I get around folks like you guys and distributorships and go to all these shows, I feed off of the knowledge that's in there and the excitement and enthusiasm. Because guess who shows up at all the distributor events? People who are motivated, excited, and are willing to learn and want to grow. So it's a self-circle event.
Yeah, it's never been lost on me that when I go to the Clean Show or Excellence in Laundry or the other events like that in our industry, it's never been lost on me that the people that probably need to be there the least are the people that are there. How ironic. I mean, seriously, how ironic is that? And of course, those are the people I want to know. I want to meet. I want to get ideas off of, whether I've been in the business I'm going to be this way when I'm been in the business for 30 years. Absolutely will be. And Brian Grell, you're an example of that. I mean, I've only known of you and known you for the 12 years I've been in the industry. But full disclosure, I'm a Eastern Funding client. I have a loan with them. And you managed Jennifer Whitney early on. Jennifer Whitney's a rock star. I just talked to her this week because we're working on a new project. And me and Jennifer, I think, are going to make that happen. So you want to work with people that have that passion, but a lot of people have that passion for a few years about a specific thing, and then they kind of flame out. The real rock stars in this industry, the Kerry Lippmans of the world, the Brian Grells of the world, the Brian Wallaces of the world, they don't lose that. It's not what they do, it's who they are. And those are the people that I want to be around. I want to be associated with because I want to learn from them. So yeah. So Brian, Jordan, in the beginning, we asked Brian our first two questions, and you're going to have to go watch the video to get the answers.
I was on for it. I was on.
Oh, you
it.
were? Okay. So
I
you
did.
did get that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But I skipped number 3 just to get to some of the ones in the comments section, but I'm going to go back to number 3 for Brian Grell.
Yes.
Can I borrow money to fix up my Zombiemat?
Yeah. So I will tell you. So I don't want this to be a commercial, but I want to tell you what I do when I'm out on the road and I talk to customers, okay? I ask every store owner 3 questions, okay? And 1, is your equipment older than 10 years? Okay, 2, do you own or lease the building? And 3, are you exiting the business or are you staying in the business? Okay, and I don't know if you see what it says in here. If you answer yes to all 3 of these questions, okay, it is time for a retool. And here's the very simple answer. Will I refinance your Zombiemat? If you have strong credit, 2 years in business, and you're retooling your laundromat and have no other debt in the store, not only us, every lender in this business is going to give you the money to retool your store. And you have to ask yourself, if someone's been in business and they've been running old machines, and the store needs a makeover,
Yep.
Why would the lenders in this industry be so quick to give you? That's the fastest loan you will ever get. You can be approved in 24 to 48 hours to 3 to 4 days, depending on. Why do you think we're giving you the money so quickly? Because it's simple. It works. It's real simple. I mean, I can't put it any other way. So if you have really bad credit and you're brand new to the business, it gets a little more challenging. That's no surprise. But experienced operators who are walking around with old machines in their store, you have no excuse. Now, that said, I will always ask, don't trust me about telling you to retool your store. You need to, again, work with your local vendor who may know more information with where I am sitting in my office. So always don't rely on one person. Always get sound advice from a couple of people.
Yeah, great advice, I would say. And I love those 3 questions. And I love that the financing, I mean, it's one of the things that makes this industry great, right? Is that there's readily available financing to do things like get new equipment, and along with that gives you all the perks of having new equipment, right? And, people love the new and shiny. You can raise your vend prices. It makes the rest of your store look a lot better. You're more efficient, on and on and on, right? And right now, especially with rates being what they are, it's a great time to be updating and upgrading equipment.
Yeah, I just had somebody text me right on my Apple Watch. So I'm actually seeing myself on my Apple Watch. I took a picture. So there's a couple of things I'd like to get into talking about retool and why it's necessary, but I'll let other questions come in first.
Yeah. Well, I've touted for years, and I won't lie, it took me years to figure this out. I've never understood why people that have an otherwise healthy business don't think that they can afford to buy new equipment. Because I thought you were going to hit on this, Brian, and you kind of went off a little bit in a different direction. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you're a lender. One of the reasons that lenders and manufacturers will lend on brand new equipment is because more often than not, they know that equipment will pay for itself.
Oh,
what do you think? What do you think about that?
What do I think? So I'm going to go out on a limb because there's nothing that could be more detrimental to me personally is telling someone to do something and then have the consequences backfire in my face. Mm-hmm. So back in 2016, I was interviewed by Bob Neiman in the magazine, okay, for what it's worth. And they asked me, I just want to quote what I said 4 years ago because nothing has changed, okay? If you're in this business for the long term, you must unequivocally throw out all your old machines. Period. End of discussion. The cash flow for anyone who retools their store is significant enough to completely change the value of your laundromat. I have met people who are retool, who they get at least a 50% return in cash flow. Retooling an old Zombiemat makes the manufacturers happy, makes the distributors happy, and makes the store owners happy because the cash flow is there, and laundry customers as well. You have 4 people benefiting, not to mention if you're a green environment person, you're using less utilities, less water. 5 people benefit from retooling a store. If it's been there 20 years and you're running old machines, shame on you. You need to go run to your distributor and tell them, show me, show me. So what I do, and by the way, this is classic because Jim Whitmore wrote that question in. Well, Jim Whitmore sat in my seminar and took my challenge and then retooled all of his stores. And then Jim, raise your hand, sold them for the values that we knew he could get. So the amount of times the success stories are overwhelming. I challenge your distributor to show you. You know, it's really weird because I don't sell equipment. But when your salesman comes up to you and says, you know, Dave, you got 13-year-old machines, it's time to change them. You're going to say, you don't understand. I can fix them. They're running. They're clean. No problem. I call it lipstick on a pig, period. They're just old. They're inefficient. They could last another 30 years if you can fix them, but they're costing you money. Everybody should seek out Jim Whitmore's video on him retooling his store. And I use Jim in my zombie presentation because Jim said something that was very, very important. And I didn't pick up on it until I heard it 2 or 3 times. He replaced reliable IPSO equipment with high-speed machinery, and it made the world of a difference. So you really should talk to your distributors. Talk to your manufacturers, by the way. Usually in advertising, when someone says something, we're all negative, right? We don't want to be sold. You're going to save 30% on water. You're going to save 50% on water. And here's how I look at it. Whatever they tell you, cut the number in half. Would you like that? And the answer is, when you're doing your cash flow, absolutely you're going to like it. But this time around, trust me, talk to your distributors. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Jordan, have you put new equipment in your stores?
Yeah, almost all of my equipment is new. I have an older line in one of my stores and a couple of older dryers, but almost all my equipment is new. So, and when I put it in my first store, it doubled my business. So
I've had so many stories to tell you that when I was doing my presentation, and I'm an accountant by nature, so I tend to be conservative with numbers. That's just my nature. You know, I don't like to take excessive risk. I certainly don't want anyone to take on debt load if they certainly aren't going to improve their cash flow. I'd rather turn them down or refer it to somebody else before I do it. But I did a seminar in New York, and we had about 110 people there. And I asked people raise their hands, how many people retooled? Well, about 30, 40 people in the audience were people that I knew, and I knew they retooled. And I asked her, how many of you regret retooling? How many hands do you think have gone up in 5 years of people who've retooled your store since I've been doing my seminars? How many? Zero. There is zero. So that's why when I'm talking to somebody and I'm telling them, you don't understand, I don't want to spend $200,000 for new equipment. I said, you're not spending a penny. I said, your finance company, your manufacturer, your finance company, or your bank is giving you the money to produce a greater flow to cover that. And not only will create a greater cash flow, but you're going to increase your multiple on your store from a 3 multiple to a 5.5, 6 multiple. You're creating equity the moment you do it. I often tell people, don't sell your Zombiemat. Retool it, then sell it. And believe me, and I tell people who want to buy stores, I say, I'll give you the financing under one condition. Be prepared to throw out all your machines, because this is what's going to make you excited about the business, because you're going to see the before and after result. You'll get really excited about it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Guys, I'm going to do something a little unorthodox here. All I want is a yes or no question or yes or no answer, and we're going to move on to the next question. Okay? All I want is a yes or no answer. Nate Sheffield says, you all are pushing retooling because you are distributors.
No.
Jordan, are you distributor? Brian, are you distributor?
No.
I'm not a distributor either, Nate. Go fly a kite.
No.
What an absolutely ridiculous thing to say.
No,
Don't join a situation like this when you don't know what's going on, dude.
Dave, it's okay. We have naysayers.
Yep.
Reach out to me offline at @bgrell at Twitter. Reach out to me. I'll have a conversation with them. It's all mathematics. I'm an accountant. I'm not telling anyone to do anything if they're going to lose money. That's the stupidest thing. I'm not making a loan to someone who's going to lose money. My reputation will be shot in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't agree more. Nate, stick around. There's a lot of people here that know this industry really well. You might be able to learn something from them, and hopefully you can bring some good information. This is a community environment. This isn't about being obstinate or calling people out. It's just about helping each other out. That's what we're here to do. So Jordan, did you have any questions for Brian? I know we had those 3 that we were going over. I'm going to scan through here a little bit more real quick. Did you have any questions for Brian? Because I know you and I talked early on. I've known Brian for years, and you obviously know who Brian is. But when we mentioned, you said you didn't actually know Brian.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I didn't. I can even introduce myself. Hey, I'm Jordan. Good to meet you. Man, I love what you're doing with the Zombiemat kind of movement, because time and time again I'm talking with either clients who have Zombiemats or who have just bought Zombiemats trying to figure out what to do with them, or I have people who see them as an opportunity to get into the industry, right? Because they tend to be the cheaper laundromat. So I'm curious, what would you say to somebody who's maybe looking at a laundromat that's under $100,000 and they want to take over a Zombiemat because it's a lower price point to get into the industry?
Okay, the first thing that comes onto mind right now, because I'm a numbers guy again, right away when someone tells me they're buying store for $100,000, I already know the machines are ancient, because we all know that no matter how small your store is, machines are anywhere from $150,000 to $1,000 for even a small store. So I know the machines are ancient. So that's a smaller store generally means if you buy a smaller store, there's obviously a chance for an upside, but you have to realize in the beginning, a store that's selling for $100,000 and is an old Zombiemat is probably only making $25,000, $30,000 a year in profit before any debt service. So even if you paid cash $100,000 for that store and had no debt service, so you're only going to be making $30,000. And that's depending if it's intended or not. So you have to look at the payroll, and there's a lot of variety of factors that go into that number, whether it's an intended or. But $30,000 to me is replacing a job. Now, if you be prepared to work in that store 8, 10, 15 hours, because if you have to pay payroll 14 hours a day, 30 days a week, it's going to eat into your profit. So it all depends on what that cash flow looks like. Your distributor will know cash flows. That's why you got to get to know your distributor. If they're in our space, they will know how to analyze cash flows as well, and they will give you great advice. Don't do it alone. Too many of us know the numbers of this business and the ratios and statistics.
Yeah, I agree completely. So I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name because I'll totally butcher it if I do. So I apologize to whoever this is. I'm in the process of buying a Zombiemat. Strip mall landlord only wants to give me a 10-year lease. How do you convince them to give you a longer lease? So this is going to be their first mat.
Okay, I have a way to do that. Is the first thing, depending on the size of the store, you let the landlord know. You show them pictures of what you're going to do to that store. That you're going to make a significant cash to not only enhance his property, but to enhance foot traffic through that shopping center. So that in order to do that he needs the support of a lender. And the lender won't do it unless there's 12 to 15 or longer years on a lease. So it's all about return on investment. So that's what you would tell the landlord. But you have to, again, remember, landlords have the same perception that the average person does of a laundromat. I don't want vagabonds hanging around. I don't want bums. I don't want, they know what they expect. But if you go in there showing them a branded laundromat with high, efficient machines and all LED lighting and technology and professionalism, they're going to say, you know what, I'll give you a longer lease because you're going to be in it.
Yeah. So Jordan is a commercial property guy. So what do you think about that, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's that's great advice. I mean, listen, to a landlord, I mean, showing them a remodeled laundromat is, and making all the points that Brian just said is good. The thing that really speaks to landlords is money, right? So you need to show them how them allowing you to sign a long-term lease is going to benefit them, not only by increasing the value of their property, you know, because of your laundromat, but also it's going to increase the value of the other units in that property also, which will increase the value of that property. So, you know, I would say demonstrate to the landlord how it benefits them for you to get a longer lease, because it does benefit them, you know, and especially right now, if you can say to a landlord, hey, look around our town, look around our city, look at all the vacancies in commercial retail, you know, centers right now. And it's because of this fluke, you know, it's pandemic that we've had, but look what's still around, look what's still paying rent, look what's adding value long-term to commercial properties right now. Laundromats are there. They're essential businesses. They, you know, some of them took a little hit early on, but most of them have bounced back pretty rapidly. They're still paying rents. They're still servicing the community. And a lot of strip centers are being held up by laundromats right now. So it's really raised the stock in laundromats in terms of the commercial real estate space. So as a laundromat owner, it's a great time to be negotiating a lease. And it's also a really great time to be extending out your leases, because our stock is about as high as it's ever been probably right now.
Yeah, another point I want to make, which we touched in on Jim Whitmore's question about laundry cares. If you go to your landlord and you tell them, we're involved with laundry cares, and by the way, we went to the local mayor of the town, and we're going to bring in libraries, and we're going to do literacy programs, and we're going to do reach out to the community. So we're going to enhance our image and reputation. We're not just a laundromat. You know, you tell the landlord that you're not just a wash and dry facility, you're really engaging the community. That means the community is going to want to be in that shopping center as well.
Yeah, all this is absolute gold, for sure. No doubt about it. One of the things I would add to it is, you know, I always believe in just being completely transparent with people. And I don't know why that's like some kind of a secret sauce, but it seems to be for some reason. I've had really good luck just sitting down with landlords and explaining to them how capital intensive our business is and how long it takes for us to get a decent return on our investment. And then the other thing I'll say is and Brian touched on this some, and so did you, Jordan, is I always point out to them that what I'm going to do here is different than what they think a laundromat is. This is not the stereotypical laundromat. In the sense of the word, is because, you know, most people, the reason a laundromat has a negative connotation associated with it is because, like, you know, like Brian said, what is it, 70-80% of them are zombie mats, or in that, somewhere in that category. So that's where their mind's going to automatically go when you say you want to do a laundromat. That doesn't seem like an asset to me. If you're in that mentality as a property owner, that doesn't sound like something that's an asset that's going to bring value to it. But if you actually show them the other side of the industry, somebody's getting changed. That's phenomenal. Yeah, if you show them what the other side of the industry looks like, the side of the industry that we're talking about, the side of the industry that a lot of people in the comments section are operating at, you know, I think there's a different situation associated with that, and they'll start looking at you through a different lens, and that can open up the lines of communication. And it really just goes back to being honest and transparent and saying, this isn't a stereotypical laundromat. Look what I'm going to do. And I've even showed people plans. I've showed them pictures. I've even taken people to some of my other stores and said, this store that I'm going to put in your location is actually going to be nicer than that when I'm done with it. And you'll get their attention, and man, will you get some cooperation.
By the way, Dave, I just got a text that I want to jump in from my buddy Jim Evans in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I was on the road. I was in Connecticut, and he built a laundry. And he goes, you know, you got to come see my laundromat. You got to get my son my laundromat. And oh, by the way, you better give me a 10 in my bathroom. So I'm in the laundromat, and I'm going through, and I am checking off the boxes of this laundromat. Jim, I know you're listening. So Jim did everything right on this laundromat. He has beautiful signage, great logos. The customer service rep, when I walked in the door, she greeted me. She said hello. She was friendly. She had enthusiasm. How can I help you? The laundry was stacked professionally. The machines were no soap grind on any of the machines. Everything was, I mean, mint. I was a car technology store with beautiful signs, not taped. I hate taped signs of paper on. I go into laundromats and I rip signs down. So if I ever go into anybody's laundromat and you have paper with scotch tape on a wall, I'm going to rip it down because they turn yellow and they're disgusting. Go get a frame. Anyway, then I finally go into the bathroom and I'm walking around and say, "Oh, great! This is fantastic. Everything is right." He's got a Dyson hair dryer. I mean, tiled floor to ceiling, beautiful mirrors. And then I look around and I said, no baby changing table. A mint bathroom with no baby changing table. So I gave him a 9.9. He was so pissed off because he said, "I have it. It's in the closet." He didn't install it. So he gets a 10.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So someone asked earlier, I'm going to go back a little bit. I think this was Jim Whitmore. He asked high-speed equipment. What are your thoughts on high-speed equipment?
Okay.
Very, very general question.
Yeah, no. Okay. So I'm going to give my 2 cents. Okay. First of all, the opinions I'm about to express are the opinions of me only as an accountant. Okay. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a manufacturer, and I am not selling equipment anymore. Okay. And I always tell everyone, number one, you need to talk to your distributor and your architect and your contractors. That said, anybody who puts in anything other than high speed in today's environment, you're nuts. It doesn't make any sense. Let's put it this way. I'm a lender. If you upgrade to the high speed cost, I will give you that upgrade all the time, 100% of the time. Why would a lender give you the extra money for high speed equipment? Because we know from experience that high speed machine is the future. I had a customer. I always ask everyone this very simple question. Does anybody like to do laundry? And I'll ask you guys, you like doing laundry? Do your customers like doing laundry? It's like going to the dentist. Nobody wants to go to the dentist. Nobody wants to do laundry. Okay? So why would you build a brand new store today or replace your equipment and spend an hour and 20 minutes in a laundromat when you could be in and out in an hour? If everybody who has high-speed machines, they don't have this in their sign, you need to put a bullet in your head, not having this sign. In and out in an hour. It's that simple. So Abraham, if you're listening, I don't know if you're in here. So Abraham is a very successful supermarket operator. He's very, very successful. He got into the laundromat business, and I started telling him what he needed to do, and he did all high speed. I said, "Well, where's your sign?" So he just built a brand new store on Freeport, Long Island, and guess what it says right on the sign? Okay, fastest laundry in town. Why would you want old technology? It doesn't make any sense. So that's my 2 cents on high speed.
I'm giving bonus points, like big bonus points, to anyone who can ask a question that Brian doesn't have a magazine for or a sign for already. You're getting big bonus points for that.
Brian, quickly, show us the February 1976 issue of Planet Laundry magazine.
He probably has it right there.
Oh, I appreciate it. You are phenomenal, my friend. I love you so much. I love Brian's passion.
In 1976, it said, "Throw out your old machine, zombiemats.com." It is trademarked, by the way, guys.
That is trademarked. Someone asked earlier, real quickly, Brian. Someone asked where they can get a Laundry Cares T-shirt. Do they have to volunteer at an event, or can they buy one?
No, I'm sure we could. Well, I'll talk to Dan Nauman, who runs Laundry Cares, and we could talk about it. But generally speaking, when you volunteer, it's really great. When we volunteer, every volunteer chips in and buys a shirt and a hat. I think it's $25. But you volunteer, we give shirts out to all the volunteers, and that's how you get them. You know what? We don't want to just give them out to everybody. You got to earn it the old-fashioned way.
There you go. You can't buy it. You got to earn it.
At the Excellence in Laundry Conference 3 years ago, and I spoke to everybody who attended there, and I will tell you this. For those that are listening in and those who have never attended a free laundry day, I promise you, when we open up after this pandemic again and we start doing Laundry Cares events, please get yourself there as a volunteer, and bring your children, because they're going to experience something that's going to hit the heart, which is what our logo is. It's a Laundry Cares heart. I am telling you, once it gets inside your blood, you get infected. And you realize what good you are doing for your community. So you're not just a business owner anymore or in our industry. We really, really giving back. It's so exciting to see. It's exciting to see all the people it was really amazing. We raised money that day, this was done at random. We decided to raise money, and there were, I don't know how many people in the audience, 110 people. You know, we raised over $110,000 from the audience. And
Wow.
if you want to know why I have a special place for the people that I work with in this industry, everybody in it, those that go to all our meetings, it's because they really do care, and that's why it's Laundry Cares. So that was a side note.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So we got about 10 more minutes left in this Q&A. You guys are giving us some fantastic questions. I've seen everybody, especially all the powerhouses, answering questions and asking questions in the comments section. And you guys are absolutely phenomenal. We appreciate you guys helping each other out, even with the questions that we can't get to. So if you guys have last minute questions, post them. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the comments section and grab a couple more before we go. But we got about 10 minutes left. So we're going to try to get through a couple if we can here. So can you talk about throughput? And I think this is Aaron. It's CSW LLC. So it's his business. I'm pretty sure this is Aaron McLean. He's a client of mine in Detroit. He says, can you guys talk about throughput and the optimal store layout? Jordan, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, a flow is a big thing in laundromats, and I think, the way people are designing them now, we're talking about, wider aisles. We're talking about being able to move around without bumping into each other. We're not cramming stores with machines as much anymore. We're using more bigger machines so that, going back to what Brian was saying, we're using bigger and more and faster machines so that people can get in and out of their stores. Because for one, they don't want to be there, and for two, it leaves room for, more people to come do their laundry, especially on those days that you have a lot of business, a lot of people coming through to do their laundry. But I mean, I don't have a lot to say about it, but just thinking about the flow of customers walking around.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in real quick, and I'm going to add my 2 cents worth on this. I talk about throughput all the time, and optimal store layout. Guys, you can more easily, if you design a store properly, you can purchase less equipment and generate more revenue, which ends up being a more profitable business, and you are servicing your community in a better way, because at the end of the day, you care about happy customers, a satisfied community, and making money. That's what we as store owners care about, or should care about. What your customers care about is getting in, getting clean, and getting out. That's what they care about. They care about the experience and how much time can you save them. And so these are 2 things where, once again, we have a win-win situation for the owner of the business and the customers of the business. We meld like this. It goes perfectly together. And I can't figure out for the life of me why there's so many laundromats out there with way too much equipment in it and too narrow of aisles and not enough folding tables. I can't figure out. And these are I get it with the older stuff. I get that. That was built 40 years ago, whatever. But how in the world are we building $1 million laundromats that have 50 washers and 60 dryers and 6 folding tables? How is that happening, guys? We're too good for that. And it's because we're not sharing information. And some people out there, for some reason, are buying into the idea that more equipment means more revenue, more turns, and more customers that are happy and satisfied and serving our communities in the better way. That's what equals more money. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah. So throughput is obviously key. And again, I always go back to building stores or whatever you're doing. It's all about revenue per square foot. Now, you have small stores, you have big stores, and you got to figure out how can you maximize that. All small stores absolutely positively should have high-speed equipment, because that means your weekend traffic, you'll be able to get people in and out of your store faster instead of them waiting around, and you'll do more turns on the weekends because of high-speed machinery. But you're right. The old days when we were building stores, we would cram so much machines in there. We didn't care about folding, but that model worked 25 years ago. Now, especially because of COVID, I mean,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm serious about it. Another great reason why, and the silver lining from COVID is, who is ever going to walk into a dirty laundromat again?
Yeah.
With fear of sanitization, dirtiness, and cleanliness? My God, if you have a Zombiemat today and you've done nothing about it, shame on you. It's time for your wake-up call. I mean, literally eradicating Zombiemats. Nobody wants dirty spaces anymore. But Also, Jim Whitman and I, we're doing. Jim knows. We all know in the industry that putting in high-speed machinery is efficient and to the bottom line. So much so that we're putting together a study, an empirical data where we're trying to gather information. And you know what's mind-boggling to me? With all the stores that are out there, how many people do not track exact amount of revenue in their 20-pounders, 30s, 40s, 60s, 80s? If we knew exactly where our revenue was coming from, wouldn't we design our next store based on the capacity of those washers that we were doing? Wouldn't we study our demographics and match your store performance? Why aren't we doing that? Most store owners collect the quarters or take it and they dump it into one, and you don't know exactly. Car technology does track it, but I'm not sure everyone's looking at it. But if you really wanted to be scientific about it, there's so much more we can learn about throughput. That's getting back to your original question.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian Henderson mentions, back to the high speed extraction question, but I think this also applies to throughput and customer satisfaction. He talks about full cycle drying and those being a winning combination because you are getting people in, getting them clean, getting them dry, and getting them out in a quicker way. A lot of people don't understand that it's not in their best interest to drop a quarter at a time and let 5 or 6 or 8 minutes run off and then drop another quarter and make the machine reheat, start back up and the whole 9 yards. I think full cycle dryer pricing actually benefits our customers and it obviously benefits our operations, but I think it gives them a better experience. Real quick, do you guys agree with that or not?
I mean, I would agree with that for sure. I can't tell you how many times I see somebody throw a quarter in, open it up after, the 6, 8, 10 minutes, whatever it is, check it, still wet, put it in again. And it has to, you just lost all that heat, right? And so it's starting all over. And, I think the trick is, or the reason why a lot of people don't go to full cycle dry, because, they fear having to educate their customers on how that benefits them.
True.
But I think you're right.
Yeah, Stacy Runfola even says she changed one of her mats to a full cycle just a couple days ago. She said today 33% of her revenue was dryer, which is up from 24% average. She said she's excited to see how it continues. Happy customers equals more revenue, folks. It's really not any more complicated than that. Focus on making your customers happy, and the revenue is going to come. My mentor taught me that. Absolutely. So I'm going to look and find one more question in here real quick. Lisa Johnson says we have 10 foot of space between islands. There you go. 8 to 10 foot, in my opinion, is ideal.
And by the way, make sure you have enough room behind the dryers, because if it's really cramped back there, trying to service those dryers is a pain in the neck.
Well,
yeah, I
couldn't.
couldn't.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Question to everybody else is, hey, I'm just curious if there's a best day to do these things. Weekends working well, weekdays work well. Just curious what you guys think and what you guys like to see for future question and answers. Weekdays, weekends, evenings, earlier in the day.
Absolutely. Speaking of, wanting to serve our customers, not that you guys are customers, but we want to serve this community and we want to do these events in the future on dates and times that are best suited for everybody. So far, we've been bouncing around a little bit with dates and times, and we got to take into account those people on the West Coast. We got to think about those people, even though, there's East Coast, East Coast. We know that we're the best out here, but anyway, we got to think about those people too. And, we can't just leave Jordan. Behind and all these people out in California.
Hey, can I just respond to something?
Sure.
Little housekeeping for the association. The Coin Laundry Association, like everybody, it's been a really, really difficult year. Okay. So, I read a lot of forums out there. We went to a different model on the CLA forum, and I see a lot of complaints. And you know what? I want to address something, because I want to tell you something. Having been on the board, and I'm in my 9th year right now, I watched Brian Wallace and his staff step up to the plate like I've never seen anybody step up to the plate. I am so proud that I'm working with their team and the other fellow board members. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So when I see comments, well, I don't need the CLA, they're $27 a month. You should shoot yourself for not being involved in this association. The amount of the work that goes in the background and the educational services and the availability of people to help you if I see anybody trashing it out there, I'll tell you, I'm going to be all over it, because I have never been more proud and certainly of the board members that I work with over the years, it's all volunteer. And I don't know if anyone even realizes that. You need to get involved in this industry and grow. And let's flip that 80-20 zombies and let's start with it being 50-50. Because once, as we all change this industry, if we can all retool our stores and we all learn better customer service and we embrace literacy or other kind of community services, whatever we can do, you completely change this industry to what it was 30 years ago. And when you change that and the reputation and the image from outsiders are looking in at us, it enhances your value as a business proposition. There's so much work to be done. And I thank Brian and his team. I thank Mr. Johnson has a tough year ahead of him. We got a lot of challenges to deal with, and we're going to take this industry to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. I'm just gonna real quick, guys, give myself a quick plug. Do me a favor, since you guys are on my YouTube channel, go over and click subscribe. That helps me out. That helps me get the word out to the community. If you're not following Jordan's YouTube channel, Laundromat Resource, do that as well, because we bounce back and forth every month. So next month, we are going to be on Jordan's Laundromat Resource YouTube channel. And Jordan and I just talked about this before this event, and we think our next event is going to be on March 10th, and it's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. What is that, Jordan? West Coast, at 4 p.m.?
4 o'clock West Coast time.
4 o'clock West Coast time, he says. We'll see if Daryl has anything to say about that. Brian is pulling out zombie hunting. Is that a license? That's a permit. He's got a permit. You have a patch like for your jacket?
I have a permit to come after you, so don't try to call the police. We can retool on site.
Nice. Very nice. Brian, I can't thank you enough for, one, your passion and service to our industry way before I was in it. I hope that I have half of the passion and energy when I'm your age and when I've been in the business for 30 or 40 years that you have. And I certainly hope that I can do that because I'm insanely grateful to people that came before us. And a big part of why I do what I do, and I know Jordan does, is just to pay it forward. We want to be a part of continuing the work that you guys have done in elevating the industry. And make no mistake, folks, Brian Grell's nowhere near done. He's just getting started. Brian, we can't thank you enough for joining us on here today, for saying yes to something like this when you're an insanely busy guy. And Brian even told me that he's on the road right now. So, man, what a convenient reason to tell me no and say, I can't do that. I'm actually traveling. But people like Brian Grell and their passion for the industry, absolutely top notch, man. I cannot wait until we can get together in person so that we can continue doing this kind of stuff more and more every day. I thank you for being a part of it. Brian, real quickly, Brian is one of the co-owners. Are you a co-founder, I guess you would say, of Eastern Funding?
Co-founder of Eastern Funding, Michael. It was Michael Fanger's idea to start 24 years ago, actually. And co-founder. I did want to just finish up what you were saying. Go ahead.
All I was going to say is, can you tell people how they can reach out to you? And I know how you are, so I hope I'm not overstepping by saying this. But even if you're not interested in working with Eastern Funding from a lender perspective, Brian, is it fair to say people can still reach out to you and talk to you, and that you're willing to help them out?
I talk to people all the time. So I have a Twitter handle @bgrell.
@bgrell.
@bgrell, and it's bgrell@easternfunding.com. You can reach me there. But you know what I would encourage everyone to do? Send me your pictures or post them on the forum pages, wherever forum you can find. Post them on the forum pages. Send me your ugly, disgusting zombie mats and do your before and afters. I love before and after pictures of retools. And if you have great laundromats and great signs, share the good news so we can show others getting into the business what's working, what's not working. And that's important. So go ahead, fill my inbox up with that stuff, because who knows, it may make it into one of my presentations.
Absolutely. As always, guys, Dave Menz, Laundromat Millionaire in Cincinnati, Ohio. You can reach me at dave@laundromatmillionaire.com. Jordan, I know you can reach Jordan at laundromatresource.com, and he's also got his YouTube channel. Jordan's got some phenomenal stuff going on over there. I'm honored to be a small part of it when he allows me to. Guys, thanks for helping me to elevate the industry. Thanks for being a part of this. And I'm never going to look at a Zombiemat poster the same way again after today, guys.
Huge. Yeah, huge thanks,
Great.
Brian and Dave. Also, as always, huge thanks for letting me be a part of what you're doing too.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. You have a great day. Okay. I appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Take care.